He heard an unusual sound and stepped outside with his dog, only to discover a tiny alien girl shivering in the cold. The countryside was quieter than normal that night, the kind of silence that made every leaf rustle, every snapping branch, feel painfully loud. Ethan Mallister had been sitting in his worn armchair, his faithful shepherd dog, Scout, curled at his feet. The wood stove crackled softly, casting warm light across the cabin walls. He was about to call it a night when Scout's ears twitched. The dog growled low, eyes fixed on the window. "What is it, boy?" Ethan frowned. A faint thump followed, like something heavy hitting the frost-covered ground, then a dragging scrape. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't a wild animal. It was something else entirely. Scout was already at the door before Ethan could grab his coat. "Fine, we'll see what it is," Ethan muttered, pulling on his boots. He grabbed the heavy flashlight from the counter, the kind encased in steel, both for light and protection if needed. The door creaked as he opened it, releasing a blast of biting cold. Frost clung to the porch rails, and the moon hung low, painting the yard in silver. Scout raced ahead, nose to the ground, hackles raised. Then came it again, a soft, weak whimper. Not quite human, not entirely animal, something in between. The flashlight beam scanned the yard, across the woodpile, stopping at a small lump by the old cedar tree. Snow sparkled around it. Ethan stepped forward cautiously, Scout circling, barking sharply. "Easy, boy," he whispered. The figure shifted, raising a fragile arm, then froze. It wasn't a raccoon or a lost child. It was smaller, delicate. When the light caught her face, Ethan's breath hitched. A child, or something like one, stared back. Pale, almost bluish skin stretched over tiny bones. Huge black eyes shimmered with tears. Strands of silvery hair clung to her face, a tattered cloth wrapped around her shoulders. Her lips quivered, trying to speak, producing only garbled, foreign sounds. Ethan lowered the flashlight, heart hammering. The little girl, if he could call her that, was shaking violently. Scout whimpered, tail low, torn between fear and concern. Ethan's instinct screamed at him. This was no ordinary child, yet her tiny body curling against the frosty ground awakened something primal inside him. Protect. He removed his coat and crouched down. She flinched, but did not resist as he draped it over her. "You're freezing," he said softly, knowing she couldn't understand. Her small frame leaned into the warmth, breath forming faint clouds in the icy air. "All right," Ethan muttered, more to himself than anyone. "We're not leaving you here." He scooped her up. She was almost weightless, her icy skin pressing against his arms. Scout barked once and trotted beside him as Ethan carried her inside. Warmth hit like a wall. He set her gently by the fire, adjusting the coat around her trembling shoulders. She blinked slowly, eyes fixed on the flames, as if she had never seen fire before. Ethan rushed to heat water, hands shaking. He had treated hunters with deep cuts and neighbors stranded in blizzards, but this was something else entirely. The girl made soft clicking noises, tilting her head at Scout, who sat quietly beside her. To Ethan's surprise, Scout nudged her hand with his nose, tail wagging. She let out a faint sound, almost a giggle, tinged with a strange, echoing tone. Ethan knelt beside her. "Where did you come from, kid?" he asked quietly. Her gaze lifted to his, and for a moment, Ethan thought he saw stars swirling in her enormous black eyes, galaxies no child should hold. She reached out, trembling, touching his cheek. Her skin was cold, yet the touch sent a spark of warmth through him. Faintly, her lips formed a word, home. Ethan's throat tightened. "A long way from it, aren't you?" She nodded slightly, collapsing against him, exhausted. The night stretched into hours. Ethan kept the fire burning, wrapped blankets around her, and watched her breathing slow. He offered warm broth in tiny sips, most spilling down her chin. Scout stayed close, protective, sensing this fragile life needed guarding. Tomorrow, questions would come. Perhaps even the government if anyone found out. But for now, she was just a child needing shelter. Near dawn, Ethan dozed in the chair. A faint hum stirred him awake. She sat upright by the fire, weak but alert. Her hand hovered over the air, a small glowing orb floating above her palm, pure white light humming softly. Scout stared, awed but silent. The girl's eyes met Ethan's. "Safe," she whispered, voice clear this time. The orb drifted toward him, dissolving into warmth that wrapped his chest like invisible arms. He understood. She was thanking him. When morning broke, Ethan stood at the window, gazing at the frost outside. The world was unchanged, but for him, everything had shifted. Turning back, he saw her asleep again, bundled in his coat. Scout curled protectively around her. Ethan exhaled. He didn't know what the future held, whether her people would come for her or danger would follow. But one thing was certain. Last night, he had chosen. He had stepped outside with his dog and found not a threat, but a life in need. Alien or not, she was his responsibility. "You're safe here," Ethan whispered to the quiet cabin. The girl stirred, lips forming a faint smile. He had done the right thing. Ethan sat by the dim fire when a strange vibration filled the air. Windows rattled. Scout growled at the door. The night sky lit with streaks of blue. Ethan's gut clenched. Someone or something was searching for her. The girl's eyes snapped open, whispering a word he couldn't understand, pointing skyward. A pulsing light grew above the treeline. "No," Ethan muttered, moving to block the door. "You're not taking her. Not if it hurts her." Scout barked furiously as the glow intensified. For a heartbeat, Ethan feared losing everything, his quiet life, the fragile being he had begun protecting. Then the girl struggled upright. Shivering, she placed a tiny hand on his chest. Her touch was steady now, no longer weak. Her voice, faint but clear, "Safe because of you." The light outside flared, then faded, leaving her in his care. She collapsed in his arms again, but now she radiated warmth, breathing even. Scout whimpered softly, pressing close.